Good morning, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to Good Morning, New Hampshire. Let's begin. First up, man who went into cardiac arrest in store thanks staff who saved his life. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
Pay in grit. You pay in dedication. So we lowered and locked in our tuition because you pay enough already.
Heartfelt applause for 77-year-old Ron Benneter from the women and men who gave him back his heartbeat.
From what I was told, I was gone. So it was a miracle that they were there in the right place at the right time.
Ron handed his heroes the cardiac save pin during this EMS Week conference hosted by Catholic Medical Center. And he relived that day in March when he walked into Bass Pro Shops in Hooksett and almost didn't come out alive.
When Ron collapsed, he was actually in good hands. Inside this Bass Pro Shops, an employee who's a former police officer and a manager, both trained in first aid, along with an AED in store.
I took his pulse quickly and realized he wasn't breathing. He was turning color. He was blue.
Former Webster police officer Rich LaValle started CPR and called for the AED. Manager Chris Gaddy put his training into action.
After the second shock, he had a pulse back and the EMTs were on scene, so everything just kind of clicked.
Hooksett first responders shocked Ron twice more on the way to CMC.
Everything just happened to fall into place. They took care of me, and now I'm here to be able to thank them. Thank goodness.
And Ron's grateful wife has a message about the importance of AEDs.
If it wasn't there, he wouldn't be here. So I'm encouraging all you people out there that own businesses to get this, because it certainly saves and makes a difference, saves a life.
Jean Mackin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Iconic neon sign on display on Boston's Greenway. Let's take a listen to the video from WCVB Boston.
The sun sets on the Rose Kennedy Greenway, you'll find a little neon nostalgia where Atlantic meets Milk Street, a collection of 7 signs that hum and blink Massachusetts history. This exhibit, part art, part artifact, is called Glow.
Each of these lighted signs, these neon signs, existed somewhere between 1925 and 1970 within the Bay State, and they were meeting points for community.
Each sign has a story. They were also identifiers in the towns where they proudly hung, much like the Citgo sign is a Boston landmark in the Back Bay.
It's great. It sort of connects us to our past.
Todd Goober lit up when he spied this old sign that used to look down on Route 9.
The Cycle Center of Natick, where I got my first bicycle at 9 years old. It was absolutely fabulous.
There's also the Siesta Motel sign from Route 1 in Saugus, State Line potato chips from Wilbraham. The most photographed signs so far, the European Restaurant and Fontaine's Chicken of West Roxbury.
The chicken is waving you in. It used to wave you into the parking lot and supposedly had the best fried chicken. The European, which existed up in the North End for many years off of Hanover Street, that was in business for a multitude of years, and many people have their memories of ordering their giant pizzas that they used to slam on their table.
These signs belong to Dave and Lynn Waller of Malden. They've been collecting neon since the 70s. They'll grace the Greenway for the next 8 months. In Boston, I'm Mary Salata, WCVB News Center.
Remember the European?
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. That looks very cool, those neon signs. I like that chicken one. sobriety checkpoint helps keeps roads safe this holiday weekend. Let's take a listen to the video from WMTW News 8 Maine.
Well, Megan, this is the second time in a little more than a month that York County has hosted one of these checkpoints, and they're calling it almost a pre-season checkpoint. They say they know that after we get past Memorial Day and closer to summer, that's when thousands of people will begin flocking into Maine, and when their enforcement will really kick it into high gear, making sure no one is putting others in danger behind the wheel.
We start the season as a reminder, you can have fun, but don't get behind the wheel and drive if you're impaired.
Minimal intrusion with a big reward. That's the goal of York County deputies and Maine State Police troopers manning the sobriety checkpoint along Route 111 tonight.
It's a very quick decision by the either the trooper or the deputy on the street here, talking to the people whether they're impaired enough to pull them to the side of the road and inquire more.
Major Paul Mitchell says the purpose of the stop is twofold: enforcement by taking impaired drivers off the road, but also spreading awareness.
The thought behind this is, if they've come through one and they realize, wow, I don't know where the next one's going to be, but I'm having a good time at a bar or at a party, maybe it'll make them think to get a drive home by somebody from a designated driver.
And even for those without issue when waved right along or stopped but let go, they hope overall it serves as a positive interaction with law enforcement that shows their top priority is keeping you safe.
But it is. It's a very small intrusion into their travel behavior here. 20 seconds or so, and it does, we give them a card of what we're doing and why we're doing it, so it's maybe peace of mind for some of those drivers too that we're out here.
And according to the quick facts given to the drivers and information from the Department of Public Safety, they say alcohol and drug-related crashes account for almost a third of all traffic crashes here in Maine. We're live in Alfred tonight. Erin Dixon, WMTW News 8.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Toddler fights for her life after being hit by alleged street racer, police say. Let's take a listen to the video from ABC News.
A horrible incident on a boulevard in Tampa. Police say a mother pushing her child in a stroller was struck by two cars racing on the street. Here's ABC's Victor Okendo.
Tonight, this toddler, Lilia, just 21 months old, has died, according to Tampa police, after fighting for her life in the hospital after she and her mother were struck by a car driven by a teenager who police say was street racing. Lilia's mother, 24-year-old Jessica Reisinger, was also killed.
Pedestrian, Bayshore 9, stroller hit by vehicle.
This was the scene along Tampa's busy Bayshore Boulevard after mom and daughter were hit while crossing the street. Lilia was in her stroller, now mangled. The community is reeling.
We're devastated. It's a tragic crash that didn't need to happen.
In the arrest report, a witness says he saw two vehicles racing each other. Police say 18-year-old Cameron Herron was driving this black Mustang with 20-year-old Tristan Herron in the passenger seat, racing alongside 17-year-old John Barino. The drivers, now out on bond, face felony charges, including vehicular homicide and reckless driving. Tonight, a growing memorial at the site of the tragedy.
I mean, this is sad. Sad for everybody involved.
The city of Tampa now lowering the speed limit on the road where the crash happened. Tom?
An incredibly sad story. Victor Okendo for us tonight.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Very sad. Now let's turn things over to weather and take a look at your weather right now. Weather right now is clear, 51 degrees. Your weather for today, sunny skies and warm, highs in the mid to upper 80s. And your weather for tonight, increasing clouds, high clouds, lows in the lower 60s. And that is your weather for today and for tonight. And that does it for this first edition of Good Morning New Hampshire. We will be right back and take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with your second half of Good Morning New Hampshire. Do not go anywhere.